Hello everybody, how are you? Happy Hanukkah, Hag Aurim Sameach. I am really excited because this is our fifth episode of Shmoozn with Rabbi Ari, right? Fifth, right? So we are really happy. I'm very excited to this episode because I have the honor, and we have the honor to share this episode with three huge friends that I made here since I arrived to Virginia Beach. That it will be 3 years in 2 weeks. It's unbelievable how the time flies. But today I like to start with a joke because you know the joke, but today I will change. It's like in one Iceland was one Jew that he built, I will say, 4 synagogues. Not 2, 4 synagogues. One Orthodox, one Reform, one Conservative, and the fourth, the synagogue that he never goes. Okay, so, but today we have the honor, the privilege to have 4 rabbis. But I am not going to tell you about my life because you know my life. But let's talk with them, and this is really amazing for me, and also it's a huge challenge because let me tell you something that for me is very a huge kavod that I feel, and also I feel very comfortable to be here. And I am not talking just because we are behind the cameras. It's like because it's what I really feel that since we arrived to America, to Virginia Beach, doesn't matter which denomination the rabbis have, they call to you rabbi. And they respect that you're a rabbi. Doesn't matter if you are Orthodox, Reform, Conservative, everybody on his line, on her line, it doesn't matter. And this is a huge respect that we have between us. And I think this is amazing. And you know, this is something that is not happening around the world. If you, sadly, I need to say that if you are going to Latin America, you are not going to see that. It's very sad. So let me introduce my guest today. First, from my right to my left, we have Rabbi Jacob Herbert from Bethel. It's Temple Bethel, Congregation Bethel, Synagogue Bethel.
It's a good question. And one time it was Temple Bethel, but now it's Congregation Bethel.
Okay, perfect. So very welcome. And we have Rabbi Ross Mandelberg from Congregation Temple Synagogue OF Shalom.
OF Shalom Temple.
Oh, okay, we put the temple on the end.
Yeah.
Right. Let me. This is also something that for me is very difficult since I arrived to America, because in Latin America you are not going to find a synagogue that they call temple, like temple memory. No. It's like synagogue or a community, because I don't think they stay with the idea that the temple was in Jerusalem, and we cannot say that. But here is totally different. So are some kind of the difference that we have between the countries. And last but not the least, Rabbi Shlomo Eisenberg from Bnei Israel Congregation
Just
Temple.
B'nai Israel.
I don't even know.
Great.
B'nai
We call it B'nai Israel, we call it B'nai, but I think it's Congregation B'nai Israel, I think.
Okay.
That's my homework. That's my
So,
homework.
so very welcome. And we have here 3 rabbis, Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, going from the right to the left. And let me tell you something that is very important for me. The goal today is to have a conversation and not a debate. It's not about who is more right, who is wrong, who is more authentic, or that what I hate to say, who is more Jewish. This I really hate. It's like about to talk about us, and it's really to understanding why each of us chose to be a rabbi. So I have 3 questions for you. So I like to we start to converse. This conversation asking to you. First, when did you grow up? Second, what kind of Jewish home did you come from? And the third is, at which moment or which person give to you the decision to be a rabbi? So, let's start. Ladies first.
Thank you, Ari, and Mazal Tov on your almost 3-year anniversary.
Thank you.
As you all know, I'm celebrating my 20 years here. So, yes. So the first question is, where did I grow up? I grew up in Los Angeles. The second question was...
What kind of Jewish
What
home?
kind
Oh,
of Jewish home
so
did you
I
have?
would describe the home in which I grew up as my favorite category of Judaism, just Jewish.
Uh-huh.
I went to an Orthodox day school. Yes. Well, Hebrew was my first language because my mother was Israeli, my father a Holocaust survivor. So I went to an Orthodox day school. I graduated from LA Hebrew High, which is a conservative Jewish high school.
Nice.
And then only after college did I find Reform Judaism. And probably what attracted me to Reform Judaism was the fact that I encountered the very first woman rabbi I had ever seen. Before that, I never had the concept even of becoming a rabbi because I didn't have a role model. I just never considered it even. But once I saw one, Rabbi Janet Martyr, I knew right away that because she was always, every time she spoke, she was only speaking to me, of course, you know. I knew right away. And but it may really have come much earlier from my grandmother, my Savta, who used to say, Raisi, you're going to be a minister.
Uh-huh.
Of course, she meant like a prime minister, not a rabbi minister, but she was still right. So that's what happened.
Great. And let me add the 4th question. And why to be Reform and not conservative or Orthodox?
Well, for many different reasons, but I do believe in autonomy and applying our experience to Jewish tradition, etc. So I've never really been halachic. You know, maybe my life would have been different if I had continued on in day school, you know, but by the time I got to a certain grade, I was asking too many questions from my family, like, why don't we keep kosher? How come we don't, you know, observe Shabbat? Why don't we? So I think if my life had been different, it's very likely that I might have been more traditional. But by the time I was a young adult, I just really liked Reform Judaism's emphasis on social justice and, you know, doing mitzvot. I really liked, not that you all don't do mitzvot, but I really liked, I liked it. I liked the services. I liked the openness. Not at that time, not because I didn't even think about it, but later on to interfaith families. And, you know, it just kind of fit with my personality and my belief system.
Great.
Yeah.
Jacob?
I grew up in a small town in upstate New York, about 40 miles north of New York City, called Beacon. I used to go to shul. It was a one shul town. It was a conservative congregation. And I brought the average age down to, I usually made minyan and brought the average age down to about 75. And was weaned on Shlivovitz and Celadora cookies, you know, at the age of 13. And that's where I really fell in love with synagogue life and with Judaism, along with being very involved in Young Judea. My congregation didn't have USY. So I was a young Judean, and at a very early age, became a passionate Zionist. And it was, I think, a combination of both that eventually led me to choose the path of the rabbinate. After college in California, I lived in San Francisco, and I was seriously thinking about law school. So I worked for a major international law firm as a paralegal, and decided I did not want to spend my time poring over, legal briefs and looking at code books. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I had a really wonderful rabbi in the congregation I joined as an adult in San Francisco, Rabbi Alex Grobart of blessed memory, who said to me, Jacob, I think you would make a phenomenal rabbi. And the next thing I know, I'm interviewing, and I interviewed at what was then the UJ, University of Judaism in LA, because I was on the West Coast, but I went to JTS in New York. It was a time of my life. And I don't know what else you'd like me to.
No, great. Like I stay with something. You didn't like the laws for the paralegals, but you entered on the Judaism where we have a ton.
Yeah, the funny thing is when
You switched to Talmud.
and I ended
Different law
up,
codes.
what I love about this actually, it's like being on a page of Gemara because
Right, exactly.
you have all the different positions.
Yeah.
I ended up at ordination. I don't know if they do this at HUC or did you go to Isaac Elchanan or?
I went to Ner Israel.
Ner Israel, okay. So and the seminario, students are recognized for their excellence in different fields, and I ended up being awarded the Zubo Memorial Prize in codes. So one way or another,
Okay.
it's stuck.
Perfect.
It's interesting about that, how in school that you sort of, it's clear, like I did, my biggest prize that I got every year was like the best intern, rabbinic intern. So it was kind of like I was destined to be a congregational rabbi, right?
Great. And Rabbi Jeromo?
Yes. Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Rabbi Ari, for this opportunity. It's such a pleasure to be here. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. It's so nice to spend time with my colleagues, Rabbi Herber and Rabbi Raz. So thank you so much. Really, really great opportunity. So my background, I come from the upstate New York town of Rochester, a little bit further from New York City. My parents still live there. My grandmother still lives there. Been there for a long time. My father actually grew up in Bethel in Rochester, New York, a conservative synagogue there.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
My
Really interesting.
yeah, my grandparents were members of Bethel for many, many years. I think my grandmother probably still is in Rochester. And my father was very connected, was very involved in the Sunday school and the Hebrew school. And somehow he felt like he wanted a little bit more of a traditional Orthodox Judaism, became a Baal Tshuva. And he, is a fascinating person. My father's a doctor, pediatrician. And my mother is actually from Montreal, and her father was an Orthodox rabbi. So I have, an interesting background from my grandfather, my mother, grandfather. I'd always go see my grandfather's shul in Montreal. It was a very special place. And as a child, seeing my grandfather as a rabbi really, gave me some inspiration. But I don't think at that point, as a child growing up, I really wanted to be a rabbi. But as I continued in my studies in yeshiva and in Baltimore and Ner Israel, big famous Orthodox intense yeshiva, Talmidic yeshiva, they teach and they preach about the importance of achrayus, which means responsibility for the Jewish people. How are you going to make an impact? And that was something that I really took to heart. How am I going to make an impact? You can make an impact in every way, in any way, wherever you're doing, whatever your profession is, you can make an impact for the Jewish people. But I felt that I had an opportunity to inspire Jews, to teach Torah to Jews, to be there for a Jew when they need. As every rabbi knows, that's a major critical responsibility for others. And I thought that I had what it took. And the combination of my background, living out of town, Norfolk is a community similar to Rochester, growing up out of town. And I thought, what better? So even for the time I got married, at the young age of 22, I was already motivated to become a rabbi. So that was a little bit of my background.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure.
And before the next question, let me say hello to Robert from OF Shalom Temple, who is watching to us. So Robert, hello. Thank you for being there. And I realized something that since I arrived here, I always felt that I am the newest on the area. But now I am not. Sorry, you are 20 years here. I am 3, but you came after me and you came after him. So I am a little bit an old man. So, so the question came about that. Why did you decide to come here? And the second question is, what do you think that or what do you see as the greatest strength of the Jewish community today here? And what challenges concern you the most? Sure.
Okay, so first of all, we love it here. Been here 2 years plus. I think there's something special about young blood. Of course, we need to have the people that have been here for a long time to teach us the ropes. But when there's new excitement, new freshness, I think that's something valuable for a community. So I'm hoping that I could continue to bring that excitement for my community, for the entire Tidewater area. Norfolk, Virginia Beach is an amazing place, amazing area, great people. Great community. Just everything is what we're looking for to build here. We have a tremendous community. My synagogue, personally, B'nai Israel, is what's special about it is that there's a lot of youth, and I think that's my real focus is how can we build this, the Orthodox community, but not necessarily Orthodox, just Jewish community. For the next generation, how it can instill the love of Yiddishkeit, love of Judaism, and inspire the next generation. And that's something that's constantly on my mind. That's my focus, building the community. But I think the biggest struggle for my synagogue is that although you come in on Shabbos, there's 250 people, there's children running around, it's a beautiful sight, but that's the entire Orthodox community. And therefore the struggle is building it, making it bigger. And that's difficult because we want our schools to be successful. We want we want kosher restaurants. We want kosher shopping, and that the struggle of being as big. We're never going to be in New York City. We're never going to be a New Jersey Jewish community. But to make it a little bigger, a little bit more rich in just the amount of people in the community would be something that I'm working on, constantly recruiting from out of town, trying to build our community.
This is a really, really nice what you are saying, because it's like we are a little bit missionaries, because all of us, we came from cities that are really big cities. For example, Buenos Aires, I don't know how many kosher restaurants. And I decided to went first to Brazil, to a place where for 3 years in Salvador, north Brazil, I ate only fish.
Right.
Not meat. Only when I went to Buenos Aires. And when I moved to Porto Alegre, it was a little bit better, but also we need to order the food from Sao Paulo. So it was very difficult. And when we arrived here in America, and we came here in Virginia Beach, and we had 2 kosher restaurants that they closed. And then Charlie's open, and thanks God we have a place.
It's great, actually.
At least one. So thank you, Ross.
Okay, so the question was, what is wonderful about this community?
Why did you come
or my
here?
synagogue, or why did I come here? Well, the reason that I came here was, of all the synagogues that I visited when I was looking for a pulpit of my own. By the way, I started 9 years. I was at Baltimore Hebrew. Right across the street from Deir Israel, on Park Heights Avenue, which is affectionately referred to as Rue de la Shul, because there's so many synagogues. anyway, I came to OF Sholem because of all the synagogues that I visited. It was clear to me that this congregation had the greatest love for its synagogue, for its temple. And I always joke that OF Sholem had great bones. Usually you think of that as referring to the physical building, which it is beautiful, but it was the people that were the good bones. And I knew they loved their synagogue so much. And for God, now it's 180 years, but at the time it was 160 years, but they were so invested and caring. And I knew that they just needed a little guidance. So I love that about it. It's still the same. I mean, it's just a remarkable place, really remarkable. What I love about it now is how warm and caring of a community it is, how people of all ages, from very young to really very old, we could have from 9 days to 90 some years old, all come together to do Jewish. It's counterintuitive in most places. Well, they want something for young adults, and they want something for seniors, and they want something for this and that. And I said, you don't understand. Here, it's not like that. What they want is Judaism. And so that, I think, is really one of the most beautiful things about the congregation, is you really have young Jews seeing older Jews doing Judaism, and more mature Jews, having the blessing of children in the building. And so, it's been a lot of changes over the years. Also, I think the greatest challenge always, of course, is that this is what they call a zero growth area. The population is not increasing. So if the population overall isn't increasing, so the Jewish population is also not increasing. But it's more, the challenge is continuing to reach out to the Jewish community and to deepen people's connection and engagement and involvement. And that's really what, that I think is the ongoing challenge, is engagement. So, yeah.
So let me tell you that they are watching also Bella Lior, Elizabeth Murphy, and Ellie Collins. So hello.
And they're watching on YouTube. And Elizabeth says, hello, Rabbi Raza, Rabbi Ari, and fellow rabbis. I took Rabbi Ari's Hebrew class and I joined OST 7 years ago. Rabbi Raz is my beloved rabbi.
Oh, I love you too, sweetheart. And of course, Elizabeth, very wonderful.
Very nice. So before we continue with you, Jacob, let's go for a little bit break for our announcements. And let me tell you, the first of those announcements is like we will have at Temple Emmanuel the annual casino night, that it will be really, really fun. And that last time was amazing, and this time it will be better than last time, because we know what we need to change or what to improve. So it will be on Saturday, January 10th from 7 to 11 p.m. You need to enter to the www.tebb.org to subscribe there and to ask for the tickets. And also, if you like to buy at the gate, it will be a little bit expensive. So enter to the site, connect to the site, and also you can see all the things that we are doing, and it will be really, really, really nice. So
special MC for that night too.
Yes, yes,
so it's on there.
So the special guest host Aaron The Voice Phillips, Las Vegas Entertainment Hall of Fame. So you are going to be
a cheap plug.
Yeah. So remember, January 10th from 7 to 11 p.m. you need to be there and to enjoy. So let's go to the small commercial and then continue with the Rabbi Check.
John, go to break.
I wouldn't let aging stop me from being me.
Oh yeah, still got those moves in me.
I will be fabulous. I will accessorize.
Comfort Care can help with as much or as little home care as you need. From medication reminders and meal prep to everyday chores and errands. Let us create your personalized care plan and find the perfect caregiver match so you can live your best life possible.
Hey, honey, what you doing?
Getting ready to watch a game.
What about fixing up the house like you promised?
What you talking about?
Just the new light in the den, the new shower in our bathroom, the new fence around the yard, the front steps.
Stop! You know, I have a better idea. You know Craig down the street? He owns a company that specializes in handyman services, but he is more than just any old handyman.
Really? Would you say different strokes for different folks?
You know I will. You know why? Because he does home repairs and he does painting and kitchen remodels and bathrooms and everything else in between.
How are his prices?
Great value for great quality. You know, I think I'll invite him over and get a free estimate for all the things that I know will make you the happiest, dear.
Call Different Strokes Painting and Handyman Service for a free estimate by calling 757-395-9999 today.
That's 757-395-9999. Above the rest, they show up and show out by making your vision come to life.
Conservative. I only found reform
Okay, we're
later.
back.
So, okay. So, my friends, we are back. And Jacob, tell us.
So I came here from Sof Hamara. If you think LA is far away on the West Coast, Seattle is even more distant. And I'm an Easterner, I'm a Northeasterner. My family, my kids, my friends are all in the Northeast. It was very, very isolating and lonely for me in Seattle. I was living in the most beautiful, I think, part of the country, but I really had no chevra, and I missed my family. My significant other is a rabbi in Princeton. So knowing that my son, Adine, was actually enlisting in the Navy and was supposed to be a Navy SEAL, the odds of him possibly ending up in Norfolk were pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter at the time was the director of communications at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., which is just up the road. So that and the fact that I'm also a Coast Guard chaplain and my congregation has lots of, my president is a retired vice admiral in the Navy, lots of military veterans and active and reserve duty. And I had a really great opportunity to be a Coast Guard chaplain here. Those are all very good reasons for me to come to this part of the country. I came to Bethel because we were just right across the street from B'nai. And I've done a lot of work for the Rabbinical Assembly with transformational change and organizational change, and saw Bethel as a congregation where I could really bring a passion and love of mine to bear. The challenge is, we are celebrating our 175th anniversary this year, which is pretty remarkable. And we're the oldest conservative congregation in the Commonwealth. But the synagogue is in real transition. Synagogue has been looking for rabbinic leadership. And so the challenge for me, and one of the reasons why I wanted to come here is because I love taking a challenge on, and I feel I can make a difference. And I'm excited about that. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of hard work for all the reasons that, our colleagues mentioned. But I'm really excited and looking forward to helping to revitalize my congregation.
This is really interesting because
They're lucky to have you.
Doesn't matter which movement we have the same idea of responsibility for Jewish continuity and to take care of our people, the community, and how to make stronger our community. So now let me provocate a little bit you.
Yeah.
You cannot.
He's not.
See,
He's not a cheater.
So My first question, I have three questions that are really curious. The first one is, what do you think is most misunderstood about your movement? The second one is, what is something you generally admire about the other movements represented here? And the third, what values do you believe all rabbis share, regardless of the denomination?
You want us to do all three at once?
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
That's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Like a theorem class.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe,
Put them through
maybe,
five.
how about, what do you
Okay,
think,
A little bit.
Ari, what if we do the first,
Okay,
do
let's
the
do that.
first two
Okay.
and then go back
Okay.
for the third, you think? so?
The
Okay.
first two are, what do you think that is most misunderstood about your movement? And what is something you're generally that admire about the other movements represented here?
Okay.
Jacob.
I think the most misunderstood element of our movement, yours and mine, is that people don't understand what we stand for, think that we're confused. And, you know, I didn't answer this in the first round, but I as a child, we were members of Union Temple in Brooklyn. My uncle is a blessed memory, was an Orthodox rabbi in St. Louis. And I gravitated to what I, perceive as the middle. I'm very much of a moderate in my personality. I love the challenge of modernity and tradition working hand in hand. And I think our movement is a lot about nuance, and it's really hard to be passionate and to understand nuance. So I think that's the biggest challenge. I admire deeply the reform movement's commitment to social action. And I deeply admire the Orthodox movements or Orthodox world's. I think one of the strongest and beautiful parts of being an Orthodox Jew and living in an Orthodox community is the community of people who really know what they believe. They are passionate about living Torah, and they live in a community where it is ubiquitous to see people walking to shul, to going to shul, to eating meals together after shul. It's something that I very much admire and wish my movement was much more centered around.
Was
I think the most misunderstood thing about Reform Judaism is that we're not really Jewish, that we're not observant, that we're non-practicing, that we don't use any Hebrew in our prayers, that that we don't really, that we're not authentically Jewish, and it could not be less true. I mean, everybody who comes, from a different movement is shocked by what they see, how authentically Jewish we really are, and the vitality of our celebrations and our worship and the mitzvot we do. For example, what did we do for Hanukkah? We had a huge day on Sunday. I was still flying back from my trip, but of preparing meals for the hungry. Hundreds of people brought all the stuff to make, I think, like 200 full meals for people who are hungry. So I think that it's really a misconception. I think it dates back to the origins of Reform Judaism, which were very much what we call classical reform. And, the idea was to emulate the Protestants, but it's so not like that anymore, much to the chagrin of some of the people who grew up classical reform, but it's really so. I think people come to realize that we're very, very much authentically Jewish, but you have to be open-minded and come, to see that. There are several things that I admire, many things that I admire about both conservative Judaism and Orthodox Judaism. For conservative Judaism, I admire the passion for Zionism, the clearly spoken, plainly. I mean, that's obviously where I grew up. My grandparents were pioneers in the 30s. My mother was born in Israel, lives in Israel with her also Israeli husband. I just returned. I mean, I have it too, but as a movement, the conservative movement, I think, really leads that charge, which is why I think one of the many reasons I think it's so important that conservative Judaism remains strong and vital. The other thing is, if you look at Jewish scholarship, not in like Jewish yeshivas, but in the world, like in every secular university in the world, it is filled with scholars who are all conservative Jews. Like nobody has done more for Jewish scholarship for the rest of the world than the conservative movement. And I know many professors, and from the Ivy Leagues all the way down, they are all products of the conservative movement. And it's really remarkable, and something that I greatly admire. That's who I want to study with, if I'm going to go. And in Orthodoxy, of course, both a commitment to Jewish knowledge and Jewish learning, etc. But I was going to say the exact same thing as Jacob. It's the community aspect. You don't have to negotiate how many days of Shiva, and which hours you're going to be at home, and how many minyanim there are going to be, and you don't have to negotiate, minyanim for Shabbat. You don't have to talk about when are you going to celebrate the Chag, on the day it falls or on the closest Shabbat. I mean, I think what you said, Jacob, is very on the mark. It's like you're dealing with people who are they're living Jewishly, and so Jewish, committed Jewish lives. So you don't have to. They know what to do and they do it. So I mean, that is a beautiful thing, and it's not surprising to me that Judaism's growing on the ends, on the Orthodox and at the Reform ends, just unfortunately, but it's, so definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for both of those comments about Orthodoxy. I 100% agree. There's something so special about the community. Every Shabbos, my house is filled, with just guests, people that I've never met before that are coming for Shabbos. People staying in my house from out of town, like the houses are open. Like it's this concept of every Jew is welcome. Last night we had a Hanukkah party in our house. Just invite people in the community that may not have a place, to be, and that's something that's so important, as a community. So I think that's such a good point. What do people misunderstand about Orthodoxy? There's a lot. But I would say that I think a lot of in the world, there's this concept that we're anti-women. I think it's a big one, that we don't care about, the mechitza, the fact that women sit separately, that, we don't, they consider that we're not treating women properly. You could probably list many others, but I would just say that we believe very strongly that the women are very welcome it. They love it, and overall, and it's not in any way to be anti or to put down or to think that they're not as good in any way, but they have a different rule. The rules in Orthodoxy are very crucial. That the role of a woman may be different than the role of a man, and they're both equally important and beautiful in the eyes of God, in the eyes of us. But they may not look the same to someone who's looking in from the outside world. And that's something that if there would be a way to explain that to people and make them feel comfortable, that would be something I think would be, we should do a better job at. What I value about both conservative and Reform Judaism is I think that they do a better job at that every single Jew automatically feels comfortable. That every Jew, no matter, we all agree, at least I think, we all agree that no matter how much you're participating in Judaism, no matter how much you practice, you are a Jew. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. That's the bottom line. And Orthodoxy believes that as well. Sometimes people feel that is not what Orthodoxy believes. As long as you're Jewish in every single sense of the word. And we need to do a better job of learning from the others around us that we do welcome you in, but sometimes you may not feel that way, and that's something that I feel as the only Orthodox synagogue in the area. How can we do a better job of outreach to the general community about that every single Jew is equally important. Doing one mitzvah, one good act is so valuable. It doesn't matter what you do or how much you do. And I think that's something we could do a better job.
Right.
Rabbi, if I can interject, there's some great comments coming in through the YouTube channel from Elizabeth, same Elizabeth from before. She comments, one of the guests to our soup kitchen described OST as his favorite church, then says best meals. But the last one, I think, coincides exactly with what you all are talking about. She says, I think about our prayer about our bodies. Quote, if one of these were to be not functioning, the rest would suffer. Each branch is a body part of Judaism necessary together. Bella says, I learned to make challah at B'nai Israel last month. The women were so welcoming to me. So there's a lot of the community commenting that you all are talking about that is coming in these messages on the YouTube channel. Just wanted to make you aware.
I think that's something that Orthodoxy in general is something that we struggle with. Is people are scared to come in the door. I don't think anyone's scared to go into a Reform temple's door, but that's something that
a little bit.
Really?
People who aren't Jewish, they don't know what to expect,
Right.
but not Jewish people, I don't think. Yeah.
I am, how can I say, I am very thankful for this amazing conversation, because also goosebumps on my entire body, because I am really believe that we have a really huge future as a Jewish people, and doesn't matter which, the Torah is the same. We can understand the Torah in different ways, but as you said, we are welcome in every single place. And when we will realize that, you know what, at my home, you need to follow my rules, not because I am against you. It's because I believe in that. And I will respect that this is your house. It's like, I cannot go to your home, even if you invite me, and to go and to open the fridge and say, hey, you have a beer for me? Hey, which kind of beer did you buy? No, I cannot do that.
my fridge is always open to you.
So the point is, I think this is what complete us, and this is what enter to the next segment. That is, of course, we are on Hanukkah, and Hanukkah, it's beside all the story, the miracle, the temple, the Hashimonaim, the Maccabim, blah blah blah. We have in our house candles, 9 candles that we are lighting, and we can have many different opinions how to light the candles. If the 8 together or 1 or whatever, but my question now is, what kind of light does your movement try to bring to Jewish life? Talking about Hanukkah and the message that we have today, and what do you think that the menorah needs multiple candles instead of just one. Because why? Why?
You mean aside from the fact that that's what the tradition tells us it is.
Because okay, Hanukkah was one day. Okay, the miracle of the oil, blah blah blah. What is ceremony? One candle and okay, our kids, my children, they love that. They are really expected. They started like 1 month before Hanukkah to say, "Hey, Hanukkah is coming, so we will receive 8 presents." So it's very fun, and every single night they are waiting for that. But why? What is this menorah means to you, and what this light does your movement bring to the community?
Okay, that's a great question. So Hanukkah in the world, in the Jewish world, you ask a random Jew, Hanukkah is like the holiday, Passover, maybe Rosh Hashanah, and Hanukkah. And I think many just believe that Hanukkah is like a Jewish holiday. Just like we want to be like everyone else. Everyone's having a good time, presents. Let's have some cool lights and let's spin the dreidel, have a donut or two, and get a lot of presents, like every night a present. In Orthodoxy, in traditional Judaism, that's completely misguided. And there's nothing wrong with presents. You should definitely enjoy the donuts and the chocolate gelt. But it's really
not the Israeli donuts, because the jelly donuts in Israel are
terrible.
They're ugly.
Yes,
You don't like
if you the donuts are the
You're going to the wrong bakery. You're going to the wrong
store. No. If you are eating the donuts at the Tachana Merkazit in Jerusalem, come on.
Who eats in the Tachanat Merkazit? Class restaurant. Who goes to Tachanat Merkazit to eat?
You go to New York now. These donuts, they're selling donuts for Hanukkah for like $18 a donut.
Yeah, there you go. There's gourmet.
Dubai chocolate donuts. So there's some fancy donuts you could get. But and there's nothing wrong with celebrating with the traditions, and we should. But something that we have to remind ourselves when we're celebrating Hanukkah, that there's so much more to this holiday. It's a real time for us to reflect on two main points. Number one, the Jewish people at the time were willing to fight for their Judaism, for what they believed in. That we were the Syrian Greeks, the Yevanim, were not allowing the Jewish people to keep the Torah, to study the Torah, to circumcise their children, to celebrate the holidays and have Rosh Chodesh. And that was something that was so important to a small group of Jews that they were willing to fight for that and take on this mighty empire. That's a lesson for us, not about the fighting per se, but we have a burning desire for our Judaism. It's something so important that we're willing to fight, that we could say, I'm willing to stand up for my religion. I'm willing to stand up for something that's so important to me. And that's something that we, in my synagogue, I try to teach the children, I try to teach my family, that this is something that's so meaningful, so important. The holiday of Hanukkah, it's a reminder of how important it is for us to live with passion, live with excitement and alacrity for our Judaism. That's number one. And then number two is also something that I think is it's hard for us sometimes in 2025 to feel God's hands. We just had a terrible tragedy in Sydney at the Hanukkah party on the beach there. And it's a terrible tragedy. And sometimes of October 7th, we see all the difficulties and we forget about the miracles in our lives. We forget about how God has the power, that God loves us, first of all. We sometimes forget that. We don't realize that.
We abdicated that to the Christians, and we shouldn't, because Hashem loves us.
Hashem loves each and every person. Right. And we have a responsibility to recognize the fact that I could talk, the fact that I'm alive, the fact that I could breathe is miraculous. The fact that I am able to live and smile and have a friendship, every part of my life was miraculous. And remembering the miracle of the oil is not just supposed to remind us of what happened 2,000 years ago, but it's to remind us in each and every day in our lives, miracles happen. Hashem's looking out, God's looking out for us. And we have to have gratitude for the fact that we're alive, gratitude for all the good. Even though there's difficulties, we have to recognize that Hashem loves us.
Right. Ross?
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, obviously we could all, reflect on those themes as well. We have 4 rabbis here. But I think one of the things that's interesting about Hanukkah is, as you said, it was a small group of Jews who were willing to fight for Judaism against many other Jews who were assimilated and Hellenized. And I think we're living in a time really not unlike that, where we have Jews who have really lost the plot. They don't really they don't understand our history, our stories, why we do what we do, why it's so important. And so for us, for Hanukkah is also about rededication. It's a time to reflect not only about, what's important to us about Judaism and to carry it forward, but to actually rededicate ourselves to doing it, to living more Jewish lives, to bringing more Judaism into our homes, or bringing ourselves into our synagogues or community, and bringing light into the world, which is why rather than, all kinds of gifts and tchotchkes and, that they're going to forget about in 3 minutes, we try to emphasize making memories, doing experiences together, feeding the hungry, making meals for people who are hungry or sick or whatever. I mean, literally doing the things that Judaism teaches us are what make for a meaningful life. So, to me, that's what it is to bring the light into the darkness, because we are living really in a tough time,
There you go.
The problem of sitting in this chair and being the last one is
everything's been said.
Everything's been said.
Right.
I could not agree more with what Shlomo and Roz shared. I think you had asked, what is it specifically or uniquely about our movements and their insights about Hanukkah that we find to be very meaningful. And I think for me, it is the notion of the two very, very different themes, right? There is the miracle of the oil. I mean, the fact that Chazal have to ask in Masechet Shabbat, my Hanukkah, like, what is this holiday? Like, where did it come from? Why do we celebrate it? Raises a very interesting anthropological question. And the fact that Al Nisim really gives short shrift to the miracle of the oil, right? And it's all about the focus is about the military victory and the fact that the few and the just defeated the corrupt and the many. And our Masoret, our tradition, holds both at the same time. So if for one person, the miracle of the oil was a real miracle, and that is what makes Hanukkah meaningful for them, Gesundheit Heid. And if the miraculous overcoming of fighting against the largest, the strongest military army in the world for your values and your beliefs, if that's the miracle, then you can turn to that. And for some, you can hold both together.
Yeah.
And as a conservative Jew, I find that to be very, very powerful.
Great. So Hanukkah doesn't ask us to be identical. It asks us to increase light together. And we are almost on the end of this podcast.
To another hour.
It went so fast.
So you bring us back for the Chai episode.
Exactly. So for the end, let me. There is one of my favorites Gemarot at the Talmud on Erim that the Talmud tells us a remarkable story. For 3 years, Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai argued. These were not minor disagreements. They argued about halakha, about the law, about truth, about how Judaism should be lived. Each side insisted, the law follow us. Finally, a bad call, a heavenly voice declared, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim Chaim. These and those are the words of the living God. This is written on Eruvin 13b. And yet the Halacha follows Bet Hillel. The Talmud then asks, why? If both are true, why follow one? And the answer is really profound. It's very deeply. Because Bet Hillel were humble. They thought the opinions of Beit Shammai before their own. They listened. They respected difference. My opinion about this Gemara is that Judaism, from its earliest rabbinic voice, teaches us that truth is not threatened by plurality. Kol Israel Arevim ze bazeh. We are all responsible for the other, not only on the mistakes that we are making. Then, if you have a great community, if you are doing huge tzedakah, if we are having many different kind of teachers who are spreading their Torah to the world, Kol Israel Arevim ze bazeh. And this brings me an idea that I go to 1897 in Bessel. Theodor Herzl says, Im tirtzu ein zo agada. If we like,
if we will it,
we can conquer this dream. And you know, last Sunday night we started the festivity of the light, Hanukkah. And also this year, since we are celebrating the miracle at the Temple of Jerusalem, we cannot ignore the pain of the last days. Jewish communities in Australia and also in America were targeted by acts of hatred and terror. These attacks were not just against individuals or institutions. They were attempts to push Jewish life back into the shadows. And Hanukkah teaches us how to respond, not by hiding, not by dimming our light, but by lighting more candles. The miracle of Hanukkah is not that darkness disappeared, it's that light was chosen anyway. And we light publicly, even when it feels unsafe, because Jewish existence itself is a declaration of truth. And today, here we are, like the Hanukkah, Orthodox, Reform, Conservative rabbis. We are not the same. We do not practice the same way. We do not always agree, because also at the Talmud, they were not always agreed. But when hatred appears, it does not ask for labels, which means our response must be shared. Hanukkah reminds us that one candle is not enough. The menorah needs every flame. Trust does not demand uniformity. Trust demands presence, courage, and responsibility. When we stand together in difference and dignity, the light does not weaken, it multiplies. Rabbis, my friends, thank you very, very much for being here. I really appreciate very much that you could come this morning. Seeing all of us together renew my strength and hope that together we can make a better world, a better community. From the bottom of my heart, really, thank you very, very much. And my friends, you behind the camera, remember that next episode of Shmoozn with Rabbi Ari, it will be on January 14th, 10 a.m. on YouTube and on Facebook, Shmoozn with Rabbi Ari. Please follow us that you can receive all the information about that. Remember that on January 10th, we will have the casino night, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and at Temple Emmanuel. And we are also, this is something that even we are celebrating for Rosh Hashanah, as the Mishnah says, we have the 5th. Like it will be in 2 weeks. The new year, the 2026 is coming. So for everybody, Happy New Year. And for the viewers who are watching to us that you are not Jewish, also Merry Christmas, because we are a huge community, and this will help to create a better world. So, my friends, Rabbi Jacob, Rabbi Ross, Rabbi Shlomo, thank you very, very much. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Hanukkah Sameach. See you next month, or we can say next year. Bye, my friends.
Bye-bye.
Kisses and a huge hug for you.